Hello. And we're going to be talking about something a little bit different today. We're going to talk about One Piece live action. It came out earlier today for me. I watched all 8 episodes. It's fantastic. You should watch it. Best anime adaptation I've ever seen. It's has the heart and it carries the same charm as the original series, while it does have minor changes depending on what you consider minor. It's still very good. You can see the love and care that went into the series, and you should watch it. You should watch it. This is not a review or anything like that. This is just a thoughts, and I'm gonna be talking about it how I remember the originals compared to this. So, rather than that, it has its own little story beats. It tells it in a weird order. It doesn't say. I'm not gonna it tells its story in a weird order, as much as it does a very more modern, like live action way of storytelling. You couldn't do what you do in the manga and expect to hold the audience for the same amount of time. I can see I have Romance Dawn pulled up for the arc that this is sprinkled throughout the first couple of episodes, and if you started with this, you wouldn't hook anybody, for sure. But if you're on the fence of like, should you watch it? You should, absolutely. It's amazing. There's no reason not to, especially if you're a One Piece fan or you just want to see what's about. Do it, watch it. But yeah, I want to talk about the main series now. I'll talk about the Romance Dawn and everything like in the manga anime next. Uh, I thought one thing was weird. That okay, everything I say that's bad about it is a nitpick. Let that be known. This is a 8.5, 9 out of 10 like live action show. It is good. It's good, especially based off anything. It's fantastic. Like I said, there's minor issues, but everything I'm probably gonna say is either gonna be a nitpick or like I'll praise it for some things, but don't think I'm saying it's terrible and you shouldn't watch it. So just let that be known. I did think one thing was weird. Gold D Rogers is Gold Rogers in this, and it's like, and I'd be okay if that's how I pronounced it, but on his wanted poster, it's Gold Rogers, and I'm like, no, it's not. It's Gold, his first name, then it's D, his middle initial, then it's Rogers, his last name. So like, but they don't say D's middle name. It's just Gold Rogers is his name. It's not. It's not. Uh, the One Piece, I guess in the manga, he in the intros, I always thought that as his execution, or Gold Rogers' execution, he says, "I left it all in one piece." He doesn't even say One Piece or anything like that. I don't know why I thought he did. So I noticed that. Luffy's first appearance is on a sinking boat. I just in my head I remember him popping out of the barrel right in front of Kobe and knocked like two other dudes out as opening the barrel. I distinctly remember that scene. It does not happen. Uh, they mentioned Baroque works. We also see Mr. Seven that Zoro killed. You don't really get to see that ever. That was the first time that got adapted, which is cool. It was canon that he did that. Uh, that's like just the first episode. That's the Romance Dawn. Oh, the other part. Episode 1 goes through all like it says Romance Dawn. Romance Dawn's actually the arc for Luffy meeting in Shanks. Orange Town is Buggy's arc. I guess Romance Dawn's also Zoro stuff. Eh. But I distinctly remember Luffy getting the swords for Zoro in the manga. He doesn't in the anime. He just kind of like, I'll untie you. Figure it out. Congratulations. Follow your dream. Great swordsman. Yeah, yeah. He doesn't even get him. I always felt like Luffy was more persistent to Zoro in the manga and anime. but in the live action, he's not. Uh, Garp, we see Garp way too damn soon, in my opinion. I get it because it's like a good storytelling way. They completely changed Garp's attitude. Like Garp isn't like a jolly, like happy guy that's just like tries to help his grandson and like raise him and make him tough. No, he seems very stern, very hard ass type person. I don't know if I like that because I like the old type of Garp. Garp doesn't even chill out until the last episode, and it's just I don't know. I don't know. I don't like the Garp and he's also known as the Vice Admiral, so it's like that's the second in the command of the Marines. Like at some point it's power scaling. Like, do they not understand that you just introduced one of the strongest people in the One Piece world, episode 1. I guess you always have something to rely on to like fix a problem if you need Garp to have Garp there, but at the same time there's a reason you didn't see him until like Water 7 in the Enies lobby, because he's at the level of like he will beat anyone's ass because he's just that strong. They don't point out that the only person that actually hurts Luffy by punching him is Garp. That's the first, like that was one of the first things. Is like, why does like isn't he made of rubber? Why does it hurt him to get hit? And then it's like, yeah, it's hockey. And it's like I just knocked the shot out of him, and like he gets hurt. I remember Garp being a late introduction because of him being so broken. I thought we learned Luffy's dad, who his dad was, over who his grandfather was. Well, we meet Dragon before we meet Garp. I mean, and meet Dragon's a very loose term because I don't think we ever technically meet Dragon in any fucking anything, but we see Dragon before we see Garp. I thought so, but it's been so long. I've been keeping up with One Piece for the past 10 years. Garp's after Baroque works. Kind of weird. Okay, I mean, yes, no, I don't know. I like that they're tying stuff together, but it is. This is very much not a one-for-one adaptation. You know, it's 8 hours, 8 episodes, about an hour each episode, give or take 5 to 10 minutes. Sanji doesn't fight at the restaurant, which he fights the one dude, but then it's like he doesn't. He fights the fishman at the restaurant. He doesn't have his fight with Pearlman, but Mihawk has like defeats Pearlman and his crew. Sanji does feed the one guy, which I thought was nice. We learn the backstory of all these people. Of all our crew. Arlong goes to the restaurant and confronts Zeph. I don't like. How do I say this? Zeph was meant to be strong. They distinctly made Zeph strong because he's like, yeah, how else are you going to protect the restaurant? Zeph is the strongest. Like, he trained Sanji. That's why Sanji has some strength to him, because Zeph is supposed to be that kind of a badass person that could do what he wanted because he just whatever. And they make his ass weak. Maybe like Arlong's not super strong, but I don't like that they make it so Zeph is basically so weak to Arlong that it's like I don't. They make him out like, yo, you're like a low name person, but then like Garp meets him and is like, he's the old leader of the Cook Pirates, so legendary cook. Like, in the grand scheme of things, Arlong's not super strong, and Zeph is, but somehow they make Arlong supposed to be like, I'm a fish, I am amazing, yada yada, and it's just he's not really that strong in the grand scheme of like One Piece. In the before getting to him, you're like, yeah, these guys are strong, but you always get the feeling that there's people stronger out there. When you meet Zeph has traveled the world, you meet Garp. Now Arlong's also scaring people. Is like, are they supposed to always be this strong? Like, no, you just got power scaled wrong. You're not supposed to meet the Vice Admiral. You're not supposed to see Zeph ever be in a conflict. You're supposed to see Arlong only fight weak ones, and then all of a sudden he is strong, and Luffy barely come on top. It's supposed to be like that. The Marines are constantly chasing the Straw Hats. I don't mainly Luffy, but I don't know why. Like it's just like that's completely new. They wasn't doing that. I don't. I guess I get it. It's the storytelling way, but it's just I don't. Gart's personality has completely changed. We can get to the crew. Like those are the changes I want to bring up that I just didn't. I'm not saying they're all bad, but it's just like I noticed it immediately. Like that seems weird. Uh, we'll go to the main crew. Luffy's fantastic. Let's give props to the actors for this. I do not know how to say the name. It's on the screen, for sure. Monkey D. Luffy, Gutto, Rona Zoro, Nami, Usopp, Sanji, Shanks. They're all great. They're all great. I'll scroll through them slowly. Please take time. If anyone is interested, or you thought they did a great job, tweet at them. Send love letters. I don't really care what you do. Just they all did a good job. I don't think any actor did a terrible job in this one. But yeah, I think Luffy's casting was spot on. A great job with that. Then there's I thought I had the whole crew pulled up somewhere. There we go. Luffy's fantastic casting. Nami's fantastic casting. Luffy's backstory is really good. We don't see the iconic scene where Shanks is holding Luffy in the water and he uses Haki to like scare the beast away. We didn't understand then what it was. It was just like a fear of things. I when it first came out, this one is very much he uses it, but it's like a same thing as then. We don't understand it's Haki when he uses it. I think they did a good job. They couldn't do it in the water; it'd be a lot harder. So they kind of like had it in the boat. I think they did a good job in translation that scene because that's one of my big things I didn't want to miss was these iconic moments that you all the show and manga always call back to, like the hat to Luffy or in the water with Shanks, Nami asking for help, Zoro pleading to be the best, uh Sanji bowing to Zeph. These moments are like iconic, and I didn't want them to be just taken out and not with good alternatives. Nami's arc still has that iconic moment of like help me. A little less impactful because it doesn't like from that scene they go fight Arlong immediately, but this one is wrote a little bit like they help Nami, they help the village, then they go fight Arlong. Not a big deal. Still great impactful scene. Nami comes across more scared and like timid in a weird way, and she connects with the crew really like in a faster in the live action than the anime, or that's what it feels like, because she sticks with the crew longer than she needs to, even though she has the map. She kind of blames Luffy for having Zoro dead, even though that did not happen. And I don't really like that they had Nami do that. Like, you could have just told him not to do it. It's like, he's like, it's his dream. I'm not gonna tell him no. Like, it's. I think that point it got to the point. I think that scene was to a point. It's like you're making her have much personality at something she shouldn't be concerned about. And in the end, she's still captain. You will still like, even if he said no to Zoro, that would be Luffy's weird way of being a bad captain. Zoro would not listen to it anyway. It was he even said like, I don't want you to like get hurt, something like that. Zoro has that moment of like pleading to be the best to Luffy. Loses to Mihawk. Has the backstory. I was worried about how they handled the backstory, because Zoro's backstory with his friend Kusina was always iffy, and I mean iffy in a read between the lines, nuance type of vibe. It was very much like her father was like, you'll never be a good swordsman. Women can't be swordsmen. It kind of basically a sexist way of view. And then it because of other things, it was, they clearly state she fell downstairs and died. Its nuance was like she killed herself. You can take whatever way you want to read that, but it never really was super, didn't ever want to be really super clear about it. Even though they did say she fell downstairs and died, it heavily hinted at that she just killed herself. I'm glad they didn't say how she died. I was like, this might be a bad, because I automatically was like cringing at the fact, like, well, women, like when she said, like, well, woman's never gonna be as strong as any woman. No woman can beat a man, and it's always like, yeah, it's stupid. It's like, okay, we're good here, we're good here. And it's like, yeah, she also dies. What happens? What happens? And it's like, she's passed away. And he's like, I would like the sword to be the best. Like, you know what? Best answer to how she died. Just don't say it, because you don't want to make a clear statement. And I think saying anyone died by falling downstairs, it's a trained like swordsman and like athletic person, it's like a weird way of dying. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but you don't show anything, you don't hint at anything. It's just like she fell downstairs. I was like, yeah, I'm just glad they didn't say it. I'm just glad they didn't say it. I'm gonna be honest with you, Usopp's the most annoying character in One Piece until after Enies Lobby, and I still feel that way now. In his own arc, he's infuriating. I find him to be annoying. After that, he chills out. They do a good job just chilling him out. It's like now he's like intensely just knowing it's tall tales. For a long time, he's like, "This is the truth." Yada yada. It's like now it's like he's just being entertaining. He's a very good entertainer. He tells tall tales. Only person that believes him is Luffy, and he doesn't. And he's like everyone else. Like this is, yeah, this is just for fun. I enjoy that. I Sharpshooter, his dad Wysop, they still kept that. I'm glad. Of course, it'd be weird if they didn't. What was the another one for him? I don't ever like when he says he's the captain, but he did that constantly until post Enies Lobby. So I just like, that's just, they're doing a good job representing his character in live action. I just didn't like his character in the anime, manga, or live action. Just, they actually do a better job of me not hating him past his arc here. In his arc, yeah, I don't really care for him. Oh yeah, in his arc they killed Mary. He doesn't die in the anime. He's fine. He does get hurt. Don't get me wrong, but he doesn't die. Like he's the one that gives them the Going Mary. I thought that was different. I just didn't expect him to die. I don't know why they killed him off. I feel like that was because how do I say this? If the girl that's in the same arc as Usopp, and she really is sick, Usopp is a piece of shit for leaving her sick and almost dead. In the manga and anime, it was very much stated that Mary is going to take care of her. Mary's gonna help her whatever she needs while she's getting back on her feet. She's not dying. It's like she's a sickly kid, and she's always been a sickly kid in the anime and manga. This one, she's like, I'm being poisoned by him. It's like, couldn't you have figured that out by now? Are you guys that like not connecting dots at some point? I don't know. And then like he doesn't know that, and he still leaves him. Like, you need to literally stay. If she's literally gonna die, and you don't know why she's dying, maybe you shouldn't leave. Just a thought, my guy. Just a thought. Like you could. This is a life you could live. Why are you? Whatever. I think he's more of a scumbag for leaving in the live action than the other ones, but it's okay. It's okay. They kind of really much this is fast paced story. They kind of gloss over it real fast. Whatever. Kind of piece of shit though. Still, this is how it's gonna go. Sanji's great character. Not as flirty with the ladies as in the anime and manga. It's good. He's still kind of flirty, but that's his character. Perfectly okay for him to be like toned down. Tone him down to be a little bit more realistic, because you want to sell their personalities in like in the manga and anime. He's a great cook, of course. We can easily see that. Uh, I liked his backstory of like his flashback to Zeph being the one that boards his ship or a ship he's on as a story boy. For those that actually keep up with One Piece and are like up current, we know more about Sanji's backstory. Because like, why is he on that ship? It's intentionally not telling you more because there's more 10 years in the future. At least that's how it took to write. I like that Zeph gives him all the food, eats his leg. That's the same thing. I'm glad they didn't like back away from like that. I thought that was fantastic. It showed they had a connection. They're like, this is like, I'm betting my future on you. You eat what you need to. You eat the food. Um, he cooks for that one dude. He doesn't have his fight in at the restaurant, which is kind of weird. He fights the fishmen in the live action, but not the Pearlman or any of that stuff. They don't get invaded by pirates, just Arlong and his two people. He's very much like Fishman. Arlong's very much like Fishman can't or shouldn't serve them. I see like his words like it's like, oh, fishermen slaves? Like, yeah, but there's a lot of different slaves in the One Piece world, and usually they're all marked. They don't really have, and none of these guys have marks. I'm amazed that's something you didn't see. At least I didn't notice it. I looked a couple times. Maybe I'm just not noticing what they're marking, because all slaves in the One Piece world that were for the Celestial Dragons have a mark on them. Usually back, uh, chest, stomach, somewhere is a mark of slavery that cannot go away. Like that's just how it's made. Um, but Sanji's cool. Sanji's cool. I like his personality more probably in live action. They do a good job. I think the actors do a good job for the main crew. Buggy's wonderful. Buggy is so entertaining. He's throughout this the whole time, and he's not throughout it in the original, but in the live action, he's how they make it so Buggy's the reason they track Nami and them. Buggy's the reason they figure out uh, the restaurant, like everything. Buggy's there because he places an ear inside Luffy's hat, which is kind of weird, but I get it. I like it. Kobe probably has the best. Kobe probably improves in the live action because he's actually like is always flashing back between Luffy's story and Kobe's story, and I think they do a good job because Kobe's story also meshes with Garp's story when they're all trying to get to Luffy. Kobe's trying to be a great Marine. He's a fantastic guy. They have a goodbye at the end of the season. I think that's kind of signaling like, hey, Kobe won't be back for a long, long time. So you should probably just chill out and be like, hey, that's cool. He's never gonna be back though. Kobe's never gonna be the main guy again, like he was this season. I'm confident that's not. He's never gonna be the main guy. We'll see They build up to who else we're gonna try follow next season at the end. Garp, he got the worst change to me in this. Garp's a hard ass. He's not jolly. He's not happy about anything. Like we know that he also has a son that's the most wanted criminal in the world. We know that. For those that like keep up with it, but why is he so adamant about his grandson? Which he posted. He really rose. Luffy's not the only son. We know Luffy has a brother. Luffy actually has two brothers, but one of them Garp raised. Ace. Why? And he's also a pirate with a big name pirate on the crew of Big Name Pirate. Why is he not? He's very but Luffy is his only blood grandson. The other one's adopted, and the other one's not really complicated past. I'm sure you find out soon. When we meet Ace, should be soon. So he's a hard ass. He actually fights Luffy almost for real, which he should. Garp is so strong, it shouldn't be a fight, and it wasn't a fight. But it should have been like one punch. Like you need to stop this, and I'll never be. It should have been more dialogue than action right there. Garp gets way too mad, way too fast, and unreasonable half the time. Complete and total bullshit. Disrespecting the second strongest military person, if not the strongest. It's just that's stupid. He's like, I'm off with the fleet admiral multiple. I'm off with the fleet admiral multiple times, but Actually, he's Vice Admiral. Admiral. I forget the ranking because the way it goes is Sengoku, Garp, and then the other admirals. I think Vice Admiral is Vice Admiral to Fleet Admiral. Uh, Shanks did do a good job. His personality is very similar. I don't really think there's much changes to him. It doesn't seem like Romance Dawn's still basically the same. The transponder snails are really good designs. They did a great job on those. Fantastic. Dracula. Dub says it's Dracula Mihawk. I've always pronounced it's Dracula Mihawk, or like I just call him Mihawk. He's cool. He fights the Pearl pirates, whatever their name is. I forget so long. And Arlong's Arlong. They do a good job. Him being an asshole, hating humans. It very much translates his personality. Yeah, we can go through the arcs now about what I think they should have done or what I'd like they did. They did a great job, like blending in Romance Dawn with like Zoro, Nami, and all that stuff in with the first guys, with the first arc. So that's pretty cool. That's good. Orange Town, Buggy. They beat up Buggy. They take his. Okay, Buggy gets them. Luffy swallows the map. Yada yada. They do a good job of Buggy's personality. You don't see much of his crew as much as you did in the original, but I get why, because they also fade very fast in the original. Syrup Village. Django. I forgot. They don't have Django here. I don't know why. Django was like a. I guess I get it. If you have to cut something, Django would make sense to be what you have to cut, because it's probably the best quality of what they cut. But at the same time, you don't want to spend more than one episode in Syrup Village. I probably spent too long there now, to be fair. I do not think anybody except for the main villain here is worth actually being like more. Django's entertaining and the main villain's entertaining. Mary's entertaining. Usopp's annoying. His little band of Mary, like the kids always falling around and love listening to his stories. They're not in it. Like they cut a lot of stuff out of Syrup Village, but mainly because there's a lot to it, and at the same time, it's just not really worth it. They kind of fades fast. Within an episode, you're never gonna see besides flashbacks. And even this one is just we see the wanted poster going to the girl. I do think they cut out the better stuff from this arc, but it's the way it goes. They probably did spend too long on it for what they had. Entertaining though. Sad they killed Mary. It's sad they don't show Django, but that's about it. Main villain's very scary. They did a better job making him seem scary in this. In the original, they was like, oh, just beating and beat his ass. This one, he's like, oh, you might actually kill us. Oh, this one they completely changed a lot of the stuff up. The main arcs. The story beats that remain same is that Sanji leaves, joins the crew. Zoro fights Mihawk. Zoro loses. Nami leaves the beginning of this arc in the original. In this, she leaves at the end when Arlong invades, which is not like weird. I don't know. So they changed this up a lot. I don't know. Maybe to skip, because it's a weird transition to go from one to the other. Then it's Arlong Park. They save Nami, beat up Arlong's crew, stuff like that. We don't see a dude that actually matters. Later on, you meet the one in the background. You see he's like an octopus guy, multiple arms. Zoro fights him. Sanji fights this dude, and Usopp fights that dude. Zoro's opponent's not here. I wonder why. Because he comes back up. You're not going to see any of these guys again, except for the dude in the back. and you see him again, and it's weird that he's not here. Maybe CGI, maybe other issues. I don't. Maybe because it's just hard to do that. I have other things to bring up because of the worries about that. Because they do a good job with Buggy's thing, but at the same time they're probably just cutting a green screen in. It's hard to put something there that's not. It's harder to put something there that's not than it is just to take away something. So they do a good job. The arc, it's weird the octopus isn't there, but they probably aren't expecting to go to. He comes in at Archipelago, and Archipelago's. I'll be honest with you, they probably got 2 seasons ahead of them. It's like, sure. They probably got one more season of writing. Like, I know the what I want. The season after that, like, I know a rough idea. The season after that, I'm like, I don't know what is gonna happen. Let's see how it goes. You know what I mean? And Archipelago is like 4, 5, 6 seasons of live action, if they keep at the same pace, which they might. Actually, it might be more than 4 or 5 seasons. Archipelago is like towards the end before time skip, which is a long time from now. Oh shit, I don't know. Actually, yeah, maybe that's why. Maybe that's why it's like, you know what? If it gets to that point, they'll figure it out. Fantastic, like, transition to all this. I think they tell the stories good. I think it's a good. If you never watched One Piece and you want to get into it, this is actually worthy to get into it. Especially to skip 44 episodes, or 95 chapters. Yeah, sure, respectable. Okay, so the ending of the anime, we go and we see Luffy gets a bounty of 30 billion berries, 30 million, 30,000, was it 30 million berries, 30,000 berries, something like that. Berries is money. And so, like, we see a scene of, like, Buggy and the first pirate girl, or pirate captain, the evil one, that has Kobe working for her as a slave. Thereafter, they look like they're teaming up to go after Luffy, and then we see Smoker in the very last scene burning Luffy's wanted poster because he's gonna come after him. That leads into Logtown, where we meet these people. Smoker might be hard to do. It might be easy to do Smoker, just like Buggy, because he just has to have smoke. He's a low gear user. It's a smoke user, so you can't really hit him. Maybe they can figure that out. I'm sure it's not going to be that expensive. What other later than line arcs are? I'm gonna go to. I have a stopping point, but there's a few arcs I want to talk about to see season 2 that I'm sure it's going to include. Logtown has to be the first one that they go to. That's just how it's going to go. You're going to see Buggy there again, which is need be. You're going to see Smoker there. The other pirates, I don't remember seeing it for a long time. I don't know. And then we see Zoro with the second in command against Smoker. We meet Dragon here. That's going to be interesting. Well, we see Dragon meet now. So that's going to be interesting. This isn't going to be super expensive CGI or whatever they use. This would be a good arc to transition back into introductions for everybody, for sure. Then it's Reverse Mountain. Very fast. This one should go. Logtown might take an episode and a half. Reverse Mountain, or maybe 2. Reverse Mountain shouldn't take more than an episode. At max. At max. You meet someone on the other end, that's kind of it. You know what I mean? It should be. Honestly, I can see Logtown taking 1.5, and Reverse Mountain taking the half of the other one, and just right through it. Whiskey Peak is important to Alabasta. It's important to Baroque Works, because this is you meet more Baroque Work people. This could take 2-3 episodes. So we're down to, okay, so we're up to 2. This could take bare minimum 2. So it's going to be 4 episodes right here. I'm just saying they're going to do 8 episodes. We could also say it might take 3, because at the same time we meet Vivi, we meet the underlings, we fight them, we are Italian working pirates open arms because they are pirates. Uh, Vivi's a princess for the kingdom. It's really, this could take a, actually Whiskey Pete goes into the little guard. Oh, that's why. This could take a five. This would be 5, 6 episodes in total of the season so far. Because Vivi and Toad. Oh, Vivi doesn't join Toad now. That's why I'm thinking the other one takes longer, even though it's less episodes. Yeah, Whiskey Peak would take probably one, and then Little Garden takes one. That's why I'm thinking it's gonna take, because Little Garden's where it gets like Whiskey Pete's introduction. Little Garden goes straight into like a. In my mind, they're basically the same arc, even though they're not. But it just leads really well into Little Garden to me. So that's why I'm thinking it's gonna take 2 to 3, because that will be 2 to 3, including this. So we're up to like what, 6, 7, 6, 7 at the most. So we're gonna meet Vivi, which is gonna be next, another part of the crew for a little while, and then we meet Chopper. There, so far everything's kind of easy to do. Whiskey Pete might be a little hard because there's so many characters and they all have like little abilities and different powers. Reverse Mountain should be easy enough. It will be a lot of water and sailing now, so maybe depending on how they have to do that. Lockdown should be easy. Reverse Mountain's not bad. You just gotta have a giant whale. This is just gonna have a lot of characters with like different fighting styles, so we'll have to see what they decide to do. Little Garden, you have giants, so I don't know how. Like, I want to see how they do that. Maybe perspective, just they're just gonna. Maybe they're just warriors. They have a lot of leniency here. It's kind of a follow these story beats and you'll be good. You know what I mean? And then there's Drum Island. And this is where I think this next season is going to end. Is Chopper. It might end right at the end of Drum Island. I can see Alabasta being season 3. Unless they rush through it really fast. But at that point, we're at 130 episodes. We're 130 episodes, which they went through, I don't know, 60. So they could rush through it. They really could. They could make everything take an episode, every arc. You know, honestly. But yeah, I'm worried about Chopper. Because Chopper's a deer. Tony Chopper is a deer that ate the human fruit. So my thought is to cut down on costs. They might just they're going to cast a human and they're going to go for the CGI transformations for deer in moments. But he's going to stay human. I'm debating, is it going to be like a child? But it needs to be a doctor. So they're going to have to make that child a genius. In this one, Chopper's literally like, I don't know, 16, 17. Like, Chopper's not actually that young. Compared to like Luffy. It's just he's a deer and he's an animal. So I want it to be, it's probably best to make it a human or cast as human and then CGI the deer part. Like, oh yeah, he transformed. Probably would have to be like a short guy. It's hard to, like, this is where leniency will be fully understood because it's going to take a lot. Chopper's a permanent part of the crew. You can't just CGI his ass in once every 4 or 5 episodes. Nope. He has to be there. He is always there now. Like, Chopper's in everything because he's easy to draw and Oda puts Chopper everywhere. That's why. And he's also a major selling point, so it's almost hard to take him out of his deer form. Because he can't actually transform into human, but they might give him a little bit more property to, like, more leniency to, like, oh, you're always a human. Unless you want to transform back into deer. I don't know how that would work. He's a Zoan type, so he can just transform into anything. Or transform into the type he ate of the fruit. I am truly 20 chapter just to make sure we have this right. It is the human fruit. Hito no Mi, human hybrid or a human at will. Yeah, yeah. Hito no Mi, human fruit. Just want to make sure not to get that wrong. He's a doctor though. He's gonna be the crew's doctor, so he needs to be there. He can't be dumb. He has to be. competent. Mm, this could get hard. Of like, should they probably don't even know themselves? They're like, what's the cheapest option that's still efficient to sell and be like drawing an audience? It's most likely gonna be a guy that wears that hat with Andy. He's like, I can't fully transform, and it's just for the sake of being in budget for the next eternity, as long as it keeps going. Because I don't want it to get so expensive that it's almost not worth making for them. I don't want that. I want this to continue. I want this to be the short version of like, oh yeah, this is only like, I don't know, binge it for a week and you'll catch up to the current story. And like, okay, sure. I don't know. I hope to see what they do. Matt Owens and what's it? Showrunner Matt Owens and Stephen Maeda do a great job. Showrunner, executive producer, and writer, they do a great job. Praise to them. I've had so much fun watching it for today. It it deserves attention. It deserves recognition, and it's a great adaptation. I'm just been rambling. Thank you for listening.